heard it a million times, right? Follow your passion. It's on posters, it's in every graduation speech. It's probably the single most common piece of career advice out there. But what if it's not just wrong? What if it's the very thing holding you back? Today, we're tearing down the passion lie. So check this out. Entrepreneur Alex Hormozi is talking to this young guy on Rodeo Drive. This kid had already made $80,000 in sales, and he quit. Why? Because he wasn't passionate about it. That one little moment perfectly captures this huge misunderstanding we have about work and about what it really takes to succeed.
So yeah, let's unpack this popular myth. The whole idea is that if you can just find that one thing you truly love, work will suddenly feel easy, effortless even, and success will just sort of happen. I mean, it's a really nice thought, but let's be honest, how often does that actually match up with reality?
This saying is so deep in our culture that we use it as a compass for our careers. The second a job gets hard or boring or frustrating, what's our first thought? Well, maybe this just isn't my passion. But is that really the right question to be asking? To figure that out, let's look at a real-world example. And that brings us right back to Alex Hormozi. See, he didn't just talk about this passion myth. He basically put it to the ultimate test. He walked away from a comfy consulting job to go all in on his supposed passion, fitness. And on paper, his story looks like a total fairy tale. The results of him following his passion? He sold his fitness companies for over $46 million. I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing the follow your passion story promises, right? But that number, wow, it doesn't even begin to tell the real story. Not even close. His journey kicked off with just one gym, all fueled by his love of fitness. But from there, he had to get really good at marketing and sales, and he eventually licensed his whole model to thousands of other gyms. He even launched supplement and software companies. It was this whole empire that led to that massive exit. From the outside, it looks like he followed the passion playbook perfectly. But here's the reality check. The dream was, training elite athletes and loving every second of it. The day-to-day reality, it was handling angry customer complaints, constant financial stress, mountains of paperwork, and solving the absolute hardest, ugliest problems that nobody else wanted to deal with. He's super open about it. The huge majority of the work, the grind, just plain sucked, even in his passion business. And this quote right here, it explains so much. It tells us why we get success stories so wrong. When we look back, we see everything through a filter. We see the wins, the big numbers. We don't see the sleepless nights worrying about making payroll. Like Hormozi says, nostalgia is memory minus pain. We're only ever seeing the highlight reel. Okay, so if passion isn't the secret sauce, then what is? Well, it turns out there's a totally different and way more reliable framework for actually building something that matters. Real, lasting success seems to be built on 3 completely different pillars. First up is proficiency, just the act of getting good at a skill. That's what builds real confidence. Second is a sense of duty, this deep pride you get from your work because you know other people are counting on you. And third, and this might be the most important one of all, is pain tolerance. For example, a friend of Hormozi's, who used to be a personal trainer, starts this high-end cookie company, and it just blows up, becomes wildly successful. So Hormozi asks him, "Are you super passionate about cookies?" And his friend just laughs and says no. So why do it? And his answer, it changes everything. He wasn't passionate about the what, the cookies. He was passionate about the how. He was passionate about the process of being excellent. He applied his drive to the mastery of the business, to the execution, not to the product itself. And that just completely flips the whole idea of passion on its head, doesn't it? This all leads us to a really powerful, practical idea. The ability to push through the hard parts, it's not just some personality trait you're born with. It's a skill you can actually build. It's called frustration tolerance. So what is frustration tolerance? It's basically your capacity to just keep going. It's the number of no's you can hear, the number of boring, repetitive tasks you can do, the number of times you can fall flat on your face and still get back up to try one more time. The best way to think about it is like a muscle that you can train and make stronger. And look, this is the path to getting good at literally anything. You're gonna start out feeling cringy, awkward, and weird. That's just part of the deal. You are absolutely going to face rejection and doubt from other people and definitely from yourself. The whole key is to just keep going through that early phase where there's zero reward. You just have to keep showing up, sucking a little bit less each day, until eventually you're actually good. That's how it works. You know, when you really think about it, most of what we call failure is just a story we tell ourselves. It's a line we draw in our own mind that says, I didn't make it. But unless someone is physically stopping you, you can always keep going. The only real failure is when you decide to quit. So, this is what it all boils down to. We've kind of torn apart the old way of thinking. Now it's time to replace it with a much better, much more powerful question. For our entire lives, this has been the question. We've been told to search inside ourselves for some kind of magical feeling, this perfect job that will never feel like work. But now we see how that can be a total trap. So here's the new question, the better question. What pain am I willing to endure to become great? Notice how the focus just completely shifts. It's not about trying to find a path with no pain. It's about consciously choosing your pain. It accepts that every path worth taking is going to be hard. The real decision isn't if you'll struggle, but which struggle is worth it to you. And that's the bottom line. Any path to success is going to suck at times. It's going to take way longer than you think, and it will be full of challenges you can't even predict. The single thing that winners have in common isn't some magical passion, it's just raw persistence. They're the ones who just don't stop. They keep going, especially when it's boring, painful, and nobody's cheering them on. So in the end, that pain isn't an obstacle on your path. The pain is the path. The whole process of enduring it, of building that frustration tolerance and pushing forward anyway, that's what forges you into the person who is actually capable of achieving something great. So the real question you have to ask yourself isn't, what is my passion? It's what pain am I willing to choose?